Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Thang from the National Economic University, Hanoi, Vietnam. It is a great honor for me to present to you the result of my research on corporate social responsibility in Vietnam, practice of firm in compliance with ISO 26000. Based on the interview of my research team, including Dr. Margaret Markey from St. Mary University, Halifax, Canada, and myself, we found differences in perception and practice of CSR in different types of company ownership in Vietnam: private, small, medium-sized firm, private, big firm, state-owned enterprise, multinational owned or foreign invested companies. In terms of perception of firms on the CSR, what is their motivation to do CSR? What is the focus of CSR efforts? What are challenges they face when doing CSR? Who take initiative and who is in charge of CSR? How much and what sorts of financing CSR the company commit to? And finally, what is the focus on communicating CSR for companies in Vietnam? In terms of research methodology, I designed a questionnaire composed of two parts. The first part is asking information on survey organization and respondent themselves. The second part is are questions asking about practice of firm on 4 areas of CSR. On each of the area of CSR, we have 24 to 26 measurement items for each of it. The survey is conducted both online and paper-based, and all the respondents are master students in 3 big cities of Vietnam: Hanoi, the capital city; Ho Chi Minh City, the economic hub; and Hue, the main city of the central area of Vietnam. ISO 26000 is a set of guidelines of implementing CSR principle in organizations, which is developed by International Standard Organization ISO, using multi-stakeholder approach, and is not for certification purpose. As you can see in the figure, ISO 26000 covers 7 areas, and in our research we focus only on 4 core subjects, which is labor practice, environment, consumer issues, and community involvement and development. We start by looking at the practice of firms in Vietnam in relations with the labor issues. On 25 items of responsibility toward employees, 22 of it get a mean of more than 3 on 5-point scale. Companies in Vietnam are quite active in labor relations, including complying to all labor code requirements such as contracting, overtime, salary payment, working time, safety and healthy working conditions. 3 weak areas relate to not having formal structures to support employees, such as labor conciliation, COSA, support employees after termination employment, and lack of workers' elected committee on health and safety. In these 3 items, foreign invested companies are less active compared to local company in labor relations. 12% of MNC are active in support after job termination, while this figure of SOE is about 40% in SOEs and also former SOEs. This is quite high in private company also. Labor conciliation council is not existent in 39% private company and 19% of joint ventures and MNC respectively, while this kind of council exists in all SOEs who are quite active, 56% of SOE and 40% of former SOEs. It is obvious that service company find the statement of health and safety committee is not appropriate, or they do not have such committee in the company. 100% of healthcare and social assistance organization have some efforts with health and safety at their workplace. Looking at labor intensive or heavy industries, 60% of agriculture fishing company made minimum efforts, 75% of mining, and 58% of manufacturing, 55% of transportation, and 44% construction company do not do or at all or a minimum efforts in we interest in why The statement of we have trade union has a mean of 3.7 only on the scale of 5. 9% of private company report that the statement is not appropriate, perhaps because they have less than 5 contracted employees. Because according to law of trade union Vietnam, company with a small size like that, they're not required to set up a trade union. Surprisingly, 31% of MNC and 13% of joint venture do not have trade union in the company, but majority of 90% of SOEs and former SOEs, they all have trade union to represent employees, right? In SOEs in Vietnam, trade union are among the 4 pillars of organization as in decision making, including the management, the Communist Party, and the youth union. Listed company and joint ventures, majority of them are active in trade unioning, but only 30% of multinational company are active in this kind of activities. The perception of practice and practice of trade union, local and foreign company in Vietnam are different. As I said before, a trade union in Vietnamese SOEs is created mainly for casual team building purpose and support the management in binding organizational members and building up company culture, and trade union representative have a say in job performance evaluation and promotion decisions. But why in foreign company, trade union representing really employees, right, which puts sometimes management team in challenge by requesting for better working conditions, high salary, and even in some cases going for strike. Compared to the other 4 areas of ISO 26000 cost subject, companies in Vietnam seems to be least active in environmental responsibilities. Among 24 statements, none of it got a mean of 4 on 5-point scale. The highest evaluation goes to a legal mandatory compliance, stating that company does not use banned substance. A means of 3.5% go to the statement developing environmental friendly products and services. This interprets the facts that company in Vietnam perceive and act on environmental responsibility by adding environmental friendly element into its product. This is also general practice of all firms, including local and international one. Firms in Vietnam are average in efforts with environmental responsibility. Not many companies all plan strategy or do research or commit financial resource on environmental saving. This is due to lack environmental awareness in the company. The environmental law become effective only since 2005, and the enforcement is weak. Vietnam is still considered as a trash importing country rather than dealing actively with environmental protection. Environmental efforts are considered by businesses as a cost adding, not a long-term cost-saving method or creating a healthy living environment for the future generations. Environmental protection is still a luxury concept, but protecting wildlife is much more luxury for businesses in Vietnam. As you see, this statement received only a mean of 1.8, which means do nothing or a minimum effort on this. By analyzing business ownership on the statement about support financially for environmental initiative, it is consistent with the author previous qualitative observation on CSR practice of firm in Vietnam. 33% of SOEs and 31% of foreign investment company are active on these issues. SOEs are government-owned entities with the mission of serving public welfare. They are active in CSR financial commitment. Why MNC are active in all areas of CSR? Because they follow home country standards and they are under pressure for managing global brand. None of MNC said financial support is not of their business, but 45% of private company and 24% of listed company don't have any financial commitment for environmental initiative. Looking at environment unfriendly businesses, 60% of agriculture, forestry, fishing firms, 57% of transportation, warehousing, 50% of mining firms, and 11 of construction company have no financial support for environmental initiative. A quarter of firms in professional technical service, banking, finance, manufacturing firms active in this practice. Manufacturing firms in Vietnam, including textile garment, comply with several code of conduct from MNC, and they have CSR related certificates such as ISO 14000, SA 8000, because Vietnam is among main government manufacturing plants of the world. 67% of SOEs and 65% of MNC have minimum efforts in protecting wildlife, and more than 50% of private company do not have any efforts on this issue. However, it is interesting to observe that there's no best practice among SOEs and MNCs, but there is among private company. 7% of private firms are very active in protecting wildlife. This is also consistent with my interviews that MNCs follow standardized practices from home country. However, some Vietnamese firms take many initiatives, including creating their own charity version or even committing 5% of their net profit for social causes.